తెలుసుకున్నా ఏంటండి
వస్తాడు
అదేంటి
లేట్ అయిపోతుంది లేట్ అవుతుంది
ఓ వెళ్ళండి కింద నుంచి
ఇబ్బంది లేదు ఈయన
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Online people, can you please confirm my voice is audible or not?
Yes, sir, audible.
And I hope my screen also visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So actually in last class, in last Python class, I can say. So we discussed about these topics. So we discussed about dictionary looping, and after that we discussed about what is the use of the while loop, and we discussed about what is the purpose of the nested loop. Then we discussed about what is the purpose of continue and break statements. Then we discussed about how to create the functions, and within the functions we discussed about how to create the functions without arguments, and how to create the functions with arguments, and how to create the functions with return values, and how to create the function with multiple return values. All these are the topics we covered as part of our previous session. Now in the today's session, we'll start discussing about some new topics in the Python side. So before that, can you please confirm whether everyone installed the Pycharm? Offline people?
Yes.
Okay. Online people? Hope everyone
Yes, sir.
installed, right? See, actually, in the previous classes, as part of discussing about the Python, in how many ways we executed the Python program so far? First one, by using IDLE. Second one, from the command prompt, we simply given the command as Python space our Python script name. This is the one more way of the execution. Other than that, we discussed about Jupyter Notebook. By using the Jupyter Notebook, how we can able to run our Python programs. In the same way, we need to understand how we need to run our Python program by using IDE, or we can able to call simply by using Pycharm. So Pycharm is a kind of a IDE, or we can able to call it as a integrated development environment. So in the real time, in some of the projects, might be you need to work on the Pycharm also. For that reason, as part of our classes, from now onwards, whatever the examples we are going to discuss, we'll discuss all those examples with the help of the Pycharm. So with that, what will happen? You already having experience on IDLE, and already you are having experience on the Jupyter Notebook. With that, now we are going to start discussing about the Pycharm. So with this knowledge, you can able to say you worked on the multiple ways of execution of the Python. So in the real time, either you are going to work on the Jupyter Notebook, or you are going to work on the Pycharm. For that reason, just for your convenience, I am trying to explain some examples by using the Pycharm. For that reason, I asked you people to do installation of Pycharm. Okay, so hope everyone did the installation of the Pycharm. So if you completed the installation of the Pycharm, so please open the Pycharm Mandi. So please go here, click on Windows Start button. Just type Pycharm. Go to Start button. So if you type for Pycharm, sorry, actually my voice is not good, and if any disturbance, so please forgive me. Okay, so if you search for Pycharm, you can able to see, if you install the Pycharm in your system, you can able to see the Pycharm application. Please click on that. Please click on your Pycharm application. So once you open the Pycharm application, there you can able to see the option called as a new project, and you can able to see one more option called as a open project. Please click on the new project. Please click on new project. please click on new project. Once you click on the new project, by default, it will take the path for creation of your project. By default, it will take a path. Please copy and paste that path in your notepad. That is for your future reference. And in the Pycharm, we are going to run the multiple programs. Whatever the programs which you are going to run, all those programs will store in that particular path. For that reason, please copy paste that path into your notepad. So in future, whenever you want to refer all your practiced programs, you can go to this path. In this path, you can able to see all the programs which you are going to perform the practice. For that reason, if you want, just copy paste that path. That's it. And after that, just click on OK or click on Open. Whatever the option is there, please click on that.
The location path, right?
Yeah, location path.
Okay.
If you want, you can change the path also, but we'll do all those experiments later. For now, give the same path. Don't do any changes in the path but just to copy paste that path into your notepad for your future reference. Okay, so hope now you can able to see the window like this. So in this window, you can able to see left side your project name. At the same time, you can able to see all the information. You can able to see this kind of window. But here in my system, it is showing everything in the white color. Might be in your system, it is showing in the black color only. So actually, that is the setting we can able to change. If you want black color, you can able to keep it as is. But if you want to change the settings, just go to the file. Go to settings. Okay, so if you click on the settings here, you can able to see the appearance. Please click on that. Click on appearance in the settings. Actually, here you can able to see the theme only. So in the theme, you can able to change the theme. If you want, you can go ahead with the black color only. But in my screen, if it is in the black color, people cannot able to see the window properly. That's the reason just I modified it to the white color. So here you can able to see the multiple options for your theme purpose. By default, you are having it as a dark color, but if you want, you can able to change it to any other color by depending on your convenience. If you want, otherwise you can ignore it only. Okay. Now actually, once you are going to open the Pycharm window, so by default, you can able to see one program called as a main.py. That is the default program you are getting as part of your installation. Now, I want to create the new script by depending on my requirement. So if you want to create the new script, what we can do here is, if you see at the top left side panel, please right click on the project. So actually this we can able to call it as a project name. So Python project is nothing but this is our project name. Please right click, click on new. In the new, please click on the file. Right click on the project, click on new, then click on file. So come into file, just to give some name. So I'm giving it as a, for example, sample1.py. You can give any naming convention. But give it as a .py. Py is nothing but we are creating the Python script file. For that reason, you have to give the suffix as .py. So here I'm giving the name of the program. At the same time, we are giving at the end as a .py. Then click on enter. So just to right click on the project, click on new, click on file, give the name of the file. So whatever the steps we are following in the Pycharm, please try to follow each and every step and try to remember all this information, because in the coming classes we are going to discuss about the Pycharm. As part of discussing about the Pycharm also, we are going to use the Pycharm. Once you are familiar with the Pycharm, then it is very easy to understand what we are doing as part of our Pycharm programming. That's the reason, please try to understand all the steps whatever we are doing here. It is very simple, but first time you are doing all these activities. For that reason, might be you will get little bit confusion, but if you are going to perform the same activity 1 or 2 times and automatically what will happen, you can able to remember all the things whatever we are doing on top of the Pycharm. At any point of time, whenever you want to create the new script, what we have to do here, right click on the project, go to new, click on the file. When given the file name, please give the file name as a file name .py. With that, indirectly you are creating the Python script. With that, you can able to perform your Python execution. Okay. Now, after creation of this script, just will run a small script and just I'm giving a equal to 10, b equal to 20, c equal to a plus b. After that, I'm giving simply print of c. Whatever the small program we discussed as part of the previous classes, just I'm running the same program one more time. Now see here, we are giving every step individually, or we are giving all the steps together in the single script. We are giving all the steps together within the single script only. If you are performing the practice in the IDLE, or if you are going to perform the practice in the Python prompt, we have to give the each and every line separately. But here we are using the Pycharm. In the Pycharm, we are using the Python script. In the Python script, you can able to give all the lines of the code at a time by depending on your convenience only. Here just we are doing the small addition operation. I given the a value, I given the b value. After that, I given the c equal to a plus b. Then I'm giving it as a print of c. Now, after writing all the lines of the code, if you want to run the script only, here you can able to see the green button. Please click on that. Here you can able to see the green button. You can able to click on the green button. If you are unable to see the green button, still your Pycharm is opening, and in the below you can able to see the status. In the below you can able to see something is in progress. If something is in progress, here you cannot able to see the green button. Just wait for 2-3 minutes, then automatically you can able to see the green button. So whenever you want to run the program in the Pycharm, first we have to write the code. After that, you can able to click on this run button. With that, you can able to run all the lines of the code. This is one way of the execution. Second way, just right click in the program.
Sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, one small question. Sir, will the show any errors or syntax errors in its IDE?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
IDE will show any syntax errors, sir?
Yeah, it will show the
Or
errors.
we need to run?
No, it will show the errors. I will show you only. So in the IDE,
Okay,
it will display everything. Okay, whatever the way we are getting errors in the IDLE or in the notebook, in the same way you can able to see the errors also by using this Pycharm IDE. Okay, yeah. So here, just now we discussed about how to run this program. By click on this green button, you can able to run the program. That is one option. Other option is just right click here. If you right click here, you can able to see the option for run. By click on this also, we can able to run the program. One option directly by click on this green button. Second option, in this program window, in this script window, just right click. Once you can able to right click here, we can able to see the run option. By click on the run button also, we can able to run the script by depending on our requirement. Okay. Now, just we'll write one more small program here. I'm giving list. How to give the list? By using which braces? Curly braces or square braces or normal braces? If you want to create the list, we have to give it as a square braces. Now I want to iterate the script. So how we need to write the program for iterating the list and
for loop.
For I in list. After that, just give it as print of I. So this is the way, if you want, you can able to write the program. if you want, you can able to create the one more script only. Earlier we discussed about the addition example. Now we are discussing about the list example. If you want, what we can do here, you can able to create the one more script by right click on this. You can able to create the one more script. In that script, you can able to write the program for list. Otherwise, in the same window, you can able to change the previous code with the new code. With that, we can able to run the one more program. Sorry. Again, just right click on run. So you can able to get the output. Now you tell me, are we doing any new activities here? Whatever the topics we discussed as part of the previous classes, everything you can able to run on top of your Pycharm. Only thing is nothing but instead of using the IDLE or instead of using the notebook environment, now we are using the Pycharm, and this is the one more way of execution of our Python program. Don't get any kind of confusion. In IDLE, whatever you ran, we can able to run all those programs in the notebook. In the notebook, whatever the programs we ran, we can able to run all those programs by using our Pycharm IDE also. Just from today onwards, we are discussing all the examples with the help of the Pycharm IDE. Okay. Now, for example, I want to create a small definition or small function. You try to help me how to create the function. I want to create the addition function. What we need to do?
Def.add.
Just we have to give it as a def space. We have to give the function name colon. After that, you can able to specify what you want to do on top of this. So just I'm giving it as a C is equal to A plus B. Now here I am giving A comma B. So what I'm doing, just I'm creating a small definition, and in the definition, just I'm giving it as a add of A comma B. After that, we are giving what operation you want to perform. Just I'm giving it as a C is equal to A plus B. Now after that, just I'm calling add of A comma B. Now tell me if you remember in the previous classes we discussed, Randy, whenever you are going to write the function with the help of the arguments, what we can able to call? That we can able to call it as a function with the arguments. Now, if you want, what we can do here, we can able to write the program function without arguments also. One more thing we discussed about function with arguments. Second topic we discussed is function without arguments. Third thing we discussed about function with return statement. One more thing we discussed about function with multi-return statements. So like this, we discussed about different topics on top of the function. Now tell me, whatever the function we are writing here, this function is falling under which category? With arguments or without arguments?
With
this is nothing but our
with
arguments. So we are
arguments.
given the arguments within the function. So this we can able to call it as a with arguments. Now here what I'm doing is I am giving 10 comma 20. And I want to assign this function output to a variable. So I'm giving it as a C is equal to add of 10 comma 20. Then after I'm giving simply print of C. Now tell me here, any guesses what is the output we can able to see with the help of this program?
Sir, return statement is missing.
Yeah. Intentionally I missed the statement. Now if I'm going to give the print of C, what will happen? In this program, I defined one function. After that, I am calling that function by using the variable. I'm giving it as a C is equal to add of 10 comma 20. After that, I am giving the print of C and D. Now, if I'm going to run this whole program, what is going to happen? We'll see that. So it is giving output as a none. What is the reason? You are calling the function. It is going to your definition. But tell me, from the definition, are we returning any value? We are not returning any value. If you are not returning any value, what will happen here? For this C, it won't able to take any kind of value. For that reason, it is taking the value called as a none. But tell me here, what is the meaning of none? This also we discussed in the previous classes.
One of the data type like
It's a kind of a null value. Indirectly, we can able to say none is nothing but null value only. Now you are given the add of 10 comma 20. Indirectly, you are calling a function, but this function is not returning any value. For that reason, this C is taking the value called as a none value only. But if you want to give the proper value to the C, what we have to do here? We need to give it as a return C, which is nothing but this function will return the value called as a C. That value is assigning to your C variable. With that, now you can able to get the proper values. Now see, we can able to get output as a 30 and D. So this is the way. So all these topics we covered as part of the previous classes. Just I'm giving the kind of the recapping and D. So functions with arguments we discussed already. Functions without arguments also we discussed, and we discussed about function with the return statement. One more topic we discussed is nothing but function with the multi-return statement. What is the meaning of multi-return statement here? For example, I'm adding D is equal to A minus B. And here I'm giving C comma D. Now tell me, if I'm going to run this, what will happen again? Here, how many variables we are giving as part of calling the function? We are given the two variables. One is C and other one is D and D. But as part of this function, how many values it is returning? Only one value. So if you want to assign the values to the two variables, so obviously what we have to do here, we need to return the two variables. And so I'm giving it as a return of C comma D. After that, I'm giving print C comma D. We'll see what will happen. Now you can able to get output as a 30 and minus 10 because we are given the 10 comma 20. C is nothing but 10 plus 20. We are getting value called as a 30. D is nothing but we are given the A minus B, which is nothing but we are getting output as a 10 minus 20. For that reason, we are getting the output value called as a minus 10. This is the example just to understand how we can able to return the multiple values by depending on the requirement from the function. By depending on the requirement, either you can able to return the single value or we can able to return the multiple values. If you want to return the single value, we are given the return C. If you want to return the multiple values, we have to give it as a multiple values on top of your return statement. So this is the way simply we can able to understand how many ways we can able to write the functions by depending on our requirement. Okay, one more just a small information, Andy. As part of writing the script, if you want to write some line and if you want to comment that, so how we can able to comment? See what I'm giving? Just I'm giving the hash symbol. By giving the hash symbol, simply you can able to comment it. What is the other option? We can able to give this
Single
value
quotes.
within
Double
quotes or
triple quotes.
Single quotes also.
Single triple quotes.
see at the beginning of the program, either you can able to give it as a single quote or you can able to give it as a double quotes. So if you are giving the double quotes, then also it is taking it as a comment. Otherwise, if you want, we can able to give it as a triple double quotes. So these many ways we can able to give the comment at the beginning of the program only, but in between the program, whenever you want to give the comment, so what we can do here is just we can able to give it as a hash. With the help of the hash symbol, in between the program, whenever you want to give the comment, we can able to pass the comment with the help of the hash symbol. At the beginning of the program, if you want to give the comment, we can able to give it as a double quote, or we can able to give it as a single quote, or we can able to give it as a triple double quotes also. By depending on the requirement, here you can able to give the comments at the beginning of the program by using the single quote, or by using the double quotes, or by using the triple double quotes only. But in between the program, whenever you want to give the comment, what we have to do here, we have to give it as a hash symbol. By giving the hash symbol, we can able to pass the comments in between the program. Okay. Now in the same way, here we need to understand one concept called as a type of the arguments. So far we are discussing how many ways we can able to write the functions by depending on the requirement. Now we need to understand what all are the different types of the arguments we are having, Andy. We'll go one by one. So see, we are having total 4 different types of the arguments. First type of argument we can able to call it as a positional arguments. Second type of arguments we can able to call it as a keyword arguments. And third type we can able to call it as a default arguments. And fourth type we can able to call it as a variable arguments only. So total we are having 4 different types of the arguments: positional, keyword, default, and variable. But before going to all these types of the arguments, what is the meaning of the argument? What is the meaning of the argument? In this program, what is the arguments?
A comma B.
This A comma B. Within the function, whatever the variables we are passing on, those variables indirectly we can able to call it as a argument. So in this example, A comma B, we are calling it as a argument. But what I'm telling here, we are having the different types of the arguments. by depending on the type of the usage of the argument, we can able to call it as a either positional argument, or we can call it as a keyword argument, or we can call it as a default, or we can able to call it as a variable arguments. We'll go one by one. First, we'll see the positional arguments. So if you see this example, in this example, I'm giving the same function. I'm giving it as a definition of add of a comma b. Then I'm giving c is equal to a plus b. Then I'm giving the return c and d. After that, I am calling the function. As part of calling the function, I am giving the values called as a 10 comma 20. Now you try to give the answer. For which value it will take it as a 10. For which argument it will take it as a 20.
A equals to
For
10.
A equal.
As part of execution, we are given the 10 comma 20. In the function, we are giving which order? A comma b. For that reason, for A, it will take the value called as a 10. For B, it will take the value called as a 20, and which is nothing but these kind of arguments. Simply we can able to call it as a positional arguments, and whatever the order of the values we are giving here, in the same order, it will take all the values on top of your function. If you are given the 10 comma 20, it will take A value as a 20 and it will take B value as a 20. With that, just I'm running this program. Now see what's happening. We are getting value as a 30. Now, for example, if you want to change the order of the values, just I'm commenting this line. I'm uncommenting this. Now try to understand here. In this example, what I'm telling, I am given the 10 comma 20, or I'm given the b equal to 20 and a equal to 10. What I'm giving? Instead of giving the values directly, I am giving the b is equal to 20. Then I'm giving a is equal to 10. Now tell me, as part of execution of this function, what is the value it will take for a? What is the value it will take for b? Any guesses?
A for 10 and B for 20.
It will take a for 10 or it will take a for 20?
A for 10.
For
Here
10,
it
B
will
for
take
20.
a value as a 10, because
10.
as part of calling this function, instead of giving only the values, and what I'm doing here, I am giving argument is equal to value. Again, I'm giving argument is equal to value. This is the way also we can able to pass the arguments. But whenever we are going to pass the arguments like this, and these kind of arguments, simply we can able to call it as a keyword arguments. As part of calling the function, if you are passing the values without giving the argument, if I'm giving directly 10 comma 20, that we can able to call it as a positional argument. But if you are giving the arguments with the help of the variable name, here I'm giving b is equal to 20, then I'm giving a is equal to 10. So this kind of argument, simply we can able to call it as a keyword argument. Now just we'll run this. So what's happening? We are getting the same output, and now why I'm explaining all these things is nothing but by depending on your convenience, either you can able to go for positional arguments, or we can able to go for the keyword arguments also. Now in the same way, we are having one more type of argument called as a default argument. Any guesses what is the meaning of the default argument from your side?
Not passing any value.
Okay, if you're not passing any values, how this function will execute? Very
It's a
simple,
default
Andy.
value,
See here,
zero.
as part of given the default arguments, what is the function I'm calling here? I am calling the add one function. If you see the definition of the add function here, what I'm giving? Add one of a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20. Now you tell me, what is the difference between this function and this function? Here what I'm doing, I am calling only the arguments. I'm giving it as just a comma b and d. But coming to here, what I'm doing, I'm giving it as a is equal to 10 and I'm giving b is equal to 20. Indirectly, we are assigning some default values to your argument. In this function, for a, what is the value we are assigning? 10. For b, what is the value we are assigning? 20. Now, as part of calling the function, if you are not giving any kind of variables, then what will happen? As part of calling the function, if I am not giving any arguments, what will happen here is, whatever the default values which you given, it will take those values automatically. If you observe here, come to C, I am given the add of 1 and here I am not giving any kind of arguments. If I am going to run this, it is giving output as a 30. How it is possible? Because here we are giving the values, we are assigning the values, and for that reason, it is taking these values as a default values. With that, this is going to execute. With that, we are getting the output value called as a 30. Now, for example, I am giving like this. Now you tell me what would be the output. Please see the program and try to give the answer. Which function I'm calling? I'm calling the add one function or I'm calling the add function? I am calling
Add function.
one function. For this function, I am passing the values as a 40, 50. But here already we assign the values as a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20. Now, if I am going to call the function like this by using the default arguments only, now you try to give the answer. What would be the output we can able to get it? We are going to get output as a 30 or we are going to get the output value as a 90.
90.
Okay, someone is saying 90, someone is saying 30. What is the correct answer?
Error.
Someone is saying it will give the error. Any other answers? 30 or 90 or error. Okay, out of these three, what's the correct answer? See, what is going to happen? We are calling it as a default arguments only. When default arguments are going to work, if you are not assigning any kind of values, then default values will come into the picture. In the previous example, as part of calling the function, I am not giving any kind of arguments. For that reason, it is taking the default values, whatever we assigned. But in this example, I am passing the values or not? I am passing the values. For that reason, now it will take A value as a 40 and it will take B value as a 50. Indirectly, it is overriding the default values. Why it is overriding? Because in this example, I am passing the values for my add one function. For that reason, it is overriding 10 with the 40 and 20 with 50. And with that, we are going to get output value called as a 90. We'll see that. What's happening? Simply we are getting output value called as a 90. This is the way you need to understand how many ways we can able to pass the arguments. And the first one, positional arguments. Directly we are given the values. Second one, keyword arguments. In this, what I'm doing here, I am given the variable name and also I'm given the value that we can able to call it as a keyword argument. Coming to third type, we can able to call it as a default argument. As part of default argument, while defining the function itself, we are assigning some values to the variable. If you are not giving any values to the function, it is taking the default value. But if you are giving the values to the function, then what will happen? These values will override on top of your function. With that, in this example, we are getting the value called as a 90. In the same way, we are having one more type of arguments called as a variable arguments. We are having one more type of argument called as nothing but variable arguments only. Now, so far, if you observe here, as part of this function or this function, how many variables we are passing? We are passing only two variables, okay? But now my requirement is, I want to give, for example, C is equal to add of A, 10, 20, 30. Or I want to give C is equal to add of 10, 20, 30, 40. Or I want to give C is equal to add of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So like this, I am given the different values. So if you observe here, in the first function, I'm given the only 3 arguments. In the second function, I want to call the 4 arguments. In the next function, I want to call the 5 arguments only. But out of all these 3 examples, you want to use the same function or you want to use the different functions? I want to use the same function. Now you tell me, actually, if I'm going to run this program by using this one, what will happen? This will run or it will throw any kind of error. We define the add function, but in the add function, how many arguments you given actually? Only 2. But here, how many values we are passing? 3. That's the reason what will happen. It will throw the error. But my requirement is whatever the number of values we are passing, that function should accept all those values. With that, it need to perform the additional operation. Indirectly, I don't know how many number of arguments I want to pass only. That kind of arguments only simply we can able to call it as a variable arguments only. Whenever you don't know how many number of arguments you want to pass as per your requirement, such kind of arguments we can able to call it as a variable argument. But if you want to handle the variable argument, then we have to give like this. Just observe. Just give it as def add of star n. So what I'm doing here, instead of given the a comma b, or instead of given the a comma b comma c, or instead of given the a comma b comma c comma d and d, what I'm doing here, I'm given the star n. Now what is the meaning of star n? It can able to access any kind of variables and any number of variables, either 2 variables or 3 variables or 4 variables or 5 variables. It can able to access any number of variables by depending on your requirement. Whenever you want to define n number of variables, then what we can do here, simply we can able to give it as a star n. But n is a compulsory, we have to give n, or we can give any value here. You can give star x or you can give star y, or you can give star a. By depending on your convenience, you can able to give anything. And just for my understanding, here I'm giving it as a n. By giving the star n, what I'm telling here, I want to pass variable arguments. Whenever you want to pass the variable arguments by depending on your requirement, instead of given the a comma b or a comma b comma c, just we are giving it as a star n. With that, you can able to pass the variable arguments and d. But if you want to give the variable arguments here, this is the way we need to write the program. Just observe. So here we are giving add of star x. After that, just I'm giving the total is equal to 0. Now, why we are writing the for loop? Any cases? In the previous function, just we are given the a plus b. But in this example, we are applying the for loop. Any cases? What is the reason? Why we are applying the for loop? For the purpose of doing our addition operation in this example. Do you know how many number of arguments we are going to pass?
All variables.
We don't know how many number of arguments we are passing. Either you are going to pass the 2 arguments, or 3 arguments, or 4 arguments, or 10 arguments, or 20 arguments. And I don't know how many number of arguments I am going to pass. For that reason, here just I'm applying the for loop. In the for loop, what I will do here, whatever the number of variables we are passing, we are going to iterate all those variables. And after that, we are performing the addition operation on top of all those variables. For that reason, just we are applying the for loop. With the help of the for loop, I will iterate all the variables, whatever we are passing. With that, I can able to get the sum value by depending on my requirement. So here what I will do is, I will give the name as a add to. Now after that, here I'm giving, for example, C is equal to add to of 10, 20, 30. Now after that, I'm giving the print of C. Now what is the function we are using here? I am using the add to function. If I'm given the add to function, will it go to add or add 1 or add 2? It will go to the add to function. Now in the add to function, we given the position argument, or we given the keyword argument, or we given the default argument, or we given the variable argument. We given the variable argument. And now in this example, I am passing the 3 variables. Now see here what will happen. It is performing summing operation for all the 3 variables. With that, why it is given the none? Any guesses why it is giving none? So here we are not giving the return statement. And I will give the return statement. Return total. Now we'll run this again. Now see we are getting output as a 60 and 60. But tell me why it is showing the 2 times 60? Because here I am given the print statement. And in the function also we are given the print statement. That's the reason it is giving 2 number of times. And now I will remove the print statement from the function. With that, now it will give only output 1 time. So we are getting value as a 60. Okay. Now what I will do here is, instead of 3 values, I will pass the 4 values. Now you tell me, do we need to perform any changes in the program? Earlier I given the only 3 variables. Now I'm given the 4 variables. And do we need to perform any changes in the program here? No need to perform any changes. Just you can able to run it. Now see, we are getting output as a 100. In the same way, just here I'm passing 2 more arguments, 50, 60, 70. Now we are given total around 7 arguments. And so with this also what will happen? Your program will run without getting any kind of error. Indirectly, as part of this example, we are trying to handle variable arguments. And so whenever you want to handle the variable arguments, we are given the same definition of the function. But only thing is nothing but, instead of given the variables here, we are using the star operator. With the help of the star operator, you can able to pass any number of arguments by depending on our requirement. This is the way simply we can able to understand what all are the different types of the arguments we are having: position argument, keyword argument, default argument, and variable arguments. By depending on our convenience or by depending on our requirement, we can able to write any kind of arguments as part of writing our functions. Okay. Any questions up to here? Please ask me. No questions. Okay. Now see here, I will tell you some shortcuts. And now as part of this window in the Pycharm, whenever you want to comment multiple lines at a time, see here. Now which function I'm calling? Add to. Now indirectly, I don't want to use these 2 functions. And so what we can do here, we can able to comment. You can able to select all the lines here. After that, click on Control/. So see what's happening. If you are given the Control/, automatically you can able to comment multiple lines of the code by depending on our requirement. And whenever you want to comment multiple lines of the code in the Pycharm, just you have to select all the lines. After that, give it as control/. With that, you can able to comment multiple lines. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to uncomment the lines. Then what we have to do? I want to
Same,
uncomment.
okay.
Same thing, Andy. Select all the lines again. Just click on control/. With that, you can able to uncomment by depending on your requirement. Either you can able to comment or we can able to uncomment. Now, why I'm telling this statement here is, if you see this example, in the same script, we are discussing about position argument. After that, I commented this. Then we discussed about the keyword argument. After that, I commented. After that, we discussed about the default argument. After that, again, I commented both the things. And now we are discussing about the variable arguments. Like that, in the same program, I try to cover position argument, keyword argument, default argument, and also I cover the variable argument. Now, after completion of the class, I will send this script file to you as part of doing the practice from your side. What you have to do? What you have to do? For example, I want to do that practice on the position argument. Simply what you can do, Andy, please comment this line and please uncomment this. After that, just run the program. You will get the output. That's it. Try to understand what we are doing. Okay, so program will run, it will give the output, Andy, but try to understand in this line of the code what I'm doing and what Sir explained in the class. Try to recollect. So we are using the add function. Here we are given the arguments, but what type of arguments we are giving here? We are giving the positional argument. Once you understand that, please comment this line. Now comment the second line. Please uncomment this. Now just run this one also. We are getting the output, but in this line what I'm doing? Instead of given the 10, 20, Sir given the B equal to 20, A equal to 10. Why Sir given like that? Because as part of this line, we are discussing about the keyword arguments, and for that reason, we given this kind of example like this. Like that, whatever the examples I'm giving in this script file, I will share the same script to you. With that, you can able to perform the practice after completion of the class. Okay. Any questions up to here? Please ask me.
Sir, in last program, default variables, right? For I value, what it is taking, sir? Not for the C is equal to for
That
this.
is not for default argument. That is for the variable arguments only. Coming to I is nothing but what is the meaning of I here? We are iterating on top of the X. Now you tell me, coming to X, what we are passing? In X, what we are passing? We are passing the multiple values. Whatever the multiple values we are passing, all those values are iterating here. For example, just assume you are given the values like this: 10, 20, 30. Now, as part of iteration, what is the first I value it will take? It will take the first value as a 10. With that, it will perform the sum operation. Now, coming to total, we are having the 0. 0 plus 10 is nothing but it will take the total value as a 10. Now, in the second iteration, what is the second value we are having here? 20. Previously, for total, we got the value as a 10. Now, 10 plus 20, it will take the value as a 30 for total. Now, in the third iteration, it will take the third value as a 30. With that, it is performing 30 plus 30. We are getting output as a 60. But here I am giving all these values here in the brackets only. But as part of program execution, where we are giving all these values, we are giving all these values here. Whatever the values we are giving here, on top of these values, it will perform the iteration by using the first statement. With that, it is taking the I value. On top of that, it is going to perform the addition operation. With that, you are going to get the final output as part of this example. Is it clear? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, try to give the answers here. Now, for example, here what I'm doing is, instead of A comma B, I'm giving it as a is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. Now tell me indirectly what I'm doing here. What type of arguments it is? I am giving A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. Indirectly, what type of argument it is? It's a keyword argument or default argument?
Default.
See here, for example, while calling, as part of calling the function, if I am giving it as a B is equal to 20 and A is equal to 10, then we can able to call this is nothing but our keyword argument. But here I'm calling the function or I'm defining the function. I am defining the function. As part of defining the function, I am giving some hardcode values to the A and B and D. Those kind of arguments indirectly what we can able to call is nothing but our default arguments. And now, for example, if I'm giving C is equal to, what would be the output? we are not passing any values, but by default it will take the value as a 10 and 20. With that, we are getting output value as a 30. Definitely people are going to get the confusion like this. For that reason only I am asking the questions. Andy, now whenever we are assigning the values in the function definition, that we can able to call it as a default argument. But whenever we are given the values like this as part of calling the function, then we can able to call it as a keyword argument. Now in the same way, I am giving, for example, simply a comma b here, and here I am calling add of a comma b. Now what type of function arguments it is? Now what type of argument it is? I'm given 10 comma 20. Sorry. Now what type of argument? It's nothing but our positional arguments, and because we are given the a comma b and we are given the values directly, so that we can able to call it as a positional argument. Now, for example, instead of a comma b, I'm giving it as a star m. Now, what we can able to call star m is nothing but our variable argument. Whenever you want to define the variable arguments, we need to go for the star operator. With that, you can able to define your variable arguments. And so this is the way we need to understand what all are the different arguments we can able to use as part of our Python programming. Any questions on top of all these arguments, please ask me here. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, well and good. Now we'll see one example. I am giving, for example, a is equal to 10/0. Now tell me, if I'm going to run this program, what will happen? Any guesses? If I'm going to run this program, what will happen? It will run or it will throw any error? 10/0. Indirectly, you are going to perform the division operation with the help of the 0 only. Can you be able to perform the division with the 0? No. So see here, simply you can able to get output as a some error. What is the error we are getting? 0 division error, which is nothing but you cannot able to perform the division with the help of the 0. It is given the error called as a 0 division error. Okay. Now in the same way, just I will show you one more example. I am giving a is equal to 10, and I'm giving b is equal to 20. Then I'm giving c a plus b. Now see, for example, this is the way I'm writing the program. Now just I'm going to run this. Now so what's happening? If I'm going to run the program like this, we are getting output as a syntax error. Earlier we got the output as a, first one we got the 0 division error. Now here what is happening, if I'm going to write the program like this, we are getting the syntax error. Now you try to do the answer. What is the difference between this error and this error? Any guesses? One time with this program we are getting the syntax error. In the previous example, I'm giving simply a equal to 10/0. At that time it is given the output as a 0 division error. What is the difference between this syntax error and 0 division error?
Here in first statement it is we did not define b. So it is saying that we did not complete this statement.
Okay.
Second one, it is like we are making the division by 0, so it is throwing as 0 division error.
Okay, so partially corrected. So I can able to select this. Syntax error is nothing but
exceptional error.
Execute your program. It is passing your program. With that, it will throw syntax errors. Okay, so what is going to happen here as part of syntax error? It is not executing your program only. So first step, what will happen? Whenever we are going to run any kind of Python programming, what will happen? First, it is going to pass the complete program. It is going to cross verify whether we given all the keywords properly or not, whether we given all the syntaxes properly or not. After verifying all these things only, what will happen? It is trying to run the program only. Now, as part of this example, what is happening here? You haven't given the syntax properly. You given the a plus. After that, you have to define any other variable. Indirectly, you are giving the syntax wrongly. For that reason, it is given the syntax error. Indirectly, as part of syntax error, it won't run your program. What is happening here? It is parsing your program. As part of parsing the program, if there is any kind of issues in the program, it will throw the error. That kind of error simply we can able to call it as a syntax error. Now, what about this one? 0 division error we are getting while execution of the program or as part of parsing the program? This we are getting as part
While
of
execution.
execution of the program, and as part of execution of the program, we are getting the zero division error. That kind of error we can able to call it as nothing but indirectly say exception. Actually, we need to understand here what is the difference between the exception and syntax error. Both are nothing but errors only. But what is the meaning of syntax error here? As part of running the program, before running the program, it is going to parsing your whole program, and as part of parsing the program, if you are giving any mistakes in the syntax, you are going to get the error. That kind of error we can able to call it as a syntax error. Now all the syntaxes are correct. After that, what will happen? Your program execution will start. As part of program execution, if it is giving any kind of error, those kind of errors we can able to call it as a exception. Instead of calling it as a error, we can able to call it as a exception. One is exception, and other one we can able to call it as a syntax error. Now, as part of exceptions, tell me, as part of these exceptions, are we going to see only one kind of error, or we can able to see the different types of the errors? I given the one of the example called as a zero division error. This is the one of the exception. In the same way, can we able to see other types of errors or not? For example, see, I am giving simply a is equal to 10 plus 3. Now tell me, if I'm going to run this program, whether it will run or it will give any kind of error. Just will try this. I'm clicking on run. Now see what's happening. We are getting the syntax error, or we are getting the exception here. Syntax is correct, but as part of running the program, you are trying to add integer value with the string value, and now can we be able to perform the addition between integer and string? Is it possible? It's not possible. That's the reason, as part of execution, our summing operation is not possible. For that reason, it is given the error. What type of error we are getting? This error we can able to call it as a type incompatible error, or we can able to call it as a type error. Earlier we got the error called as a zero division error, because at that time you are trying to perform the division operation on top of the 10. For that reason, it is given the error called as a zero division error. Now in the same way, just observe, I am giving a is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Now I'm giving, for example, a of 7. Now, in any cases, what will happen? I am giving print of a of 7. What would be the output you will get? What is the meaning of, for example, I'm giving a of 3. First, we'll try to give the answer for this one. What is the meaning of a of 3?
Position of
Index
We are
position.
given the argument, position argument on top of your index. If you are given the a of 3, what will happen? It is given the third element of your list, and which is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3. We are getting the output called as a 40. Just will run this.
40.
We are getting output as a 40. Now, what I'm doing here is, instead of giving the 3, I'm giving the value as a 8. Now tell me what will happen. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are having the only 5 elements. But what is the value I'm giving here? 8. Now if you see, if I'm going to run this one, we are getting output as a index error. List index is out of range, and which is nothing but whatever the value we are giving here, in that position we don't have any kind of value. For that reason, we are getting the output called as a index error. But tell me here, again, this is the syntax error, or this is the kind of the exception? This is the syntax error or exception? This is the exception, and which is nothing but as part of execution of the program, it is checking the 8th position of the element, but we don't have any 8th position. For that reason, you are getting the error. Indirectly, this error we are getting as part of parsing or as part of execution. As part of execution, you are getting this error. For that reason, again, this kind of error we can able to call it as a exception. Indirectly, I am trying to give the explanation. What is the difference between syntax error and exception? At the same time, we need to understand how many types of the exceptions we are having. So far, we discussed about zero division error. This is the one of the exception. One more thing, type error. One more thing, we can able to call it as a index error, and we can able to call it one more thing called as a type error. Like this, you can able to see the different types of the exceptions as part of running our program. As a programmer, you need to understand what is the difference between syntax error and exception. At the same time, we need to understand what are the different types of the exceptions you are going to get while running the program. Just I'm giving the few examples here, and other than this, we are having some other kind of errors also. But if you are going to discuss all those errors, time will take a lot of time. That's the reason. Just I'm giving some examples. Those are nothing but zero division error, type error, index error, and type error already covered. Okay, so these are the different types of the errors we can able to see as part of our exception. Now, my requirement here is while running the program, I don't want to get exceptions. Instead of that, I want to populate a message. What is the requirement here? While I don't want to get the exception, instead of getting the exception, my requirement here is I want to populate the error message. I want to populate a error message, which is nothing but I want to run the program without getting any kind of error, but I want to display the one message called as what is the error as part of your program. And just observe. I'm giving A is equal. We are getting output called as a sorry.
Sir, your voice is not audible.
I'm giving A is equal to 10 as a zero division error. Comment is, but I don't want to get this kind of error. Just I want to get one error. Message should be division operations with 0. So this is the way I want to get the error message, and we cannot able to perform the division operation with 0. I want to get this kind of message as part of this program. Earlier, what's happening here? We are getting the output value called as a zero division error. Now, instead of getting the zero division error, I want to populate my own message, and now tell me indirectly what we are doing here. I want to control the exception error. Will you agree or not? Whatever the exception error we are getting, instead of getting that error, I want to populate my own error message. Indirectly, you want to control the exception error by depending on your requirement. So whenever we are going to handle the exceptions by depending on our requirements, that operation we can call it as
Exception handling.
So in the name only you can able to see the answer also. What is the meaning of exception handling? We are handling the exception. If you want to understand this, first we need to understand what is the meaning of the exception. For that reason, first we started discussing about what is the meaning of syntax error, what is the meaning of the exception. Now you know about what is the meaning of the exception. At the same time, you know about what are the different types of exceptions we can able to see as part of our program execution. Now what we are trying to understand, instead of getting the exception error, I want to control all those kind of exceptions by depending on my requirement. Indirectly, you want to handle the exceptions by depending on your requirement. That kind of operation only we can able to call it as a exception handling. And now here we need to understand, whenever you want to handle the exceptions, we need to use two keywords. Those are nothing but try and except. So whenever you want to do the exception handling in the situation, we need to use the two arguments. And one we can able to call it as a try. Second argument, second keyword we can able to call it as a except. By using these two keywords, we can able to perform the exception handling. What is the meaning of exception handling? I want to control the exceptions in my own way, that we can able to call it as a exception handling. What is the meaning of exception? As part of running your program, if you are getting any kind of errors during the execution, that we can able to call it as a exception. But as part of exception handling, I want to control the exception by depending on my requirement. That operation we can able to call it as a exception handling. How we can able to perform the exception handling? With the help of the try keyword and with the help of the except keyword. By using these two keywords, we can able to handle the exception handling. We'll see how we can able to do that. Now tell me why I'm commenting all these lines. This is a kind of a node study. If I am going to run the program without commenting this, what will happen? It will throw the syntax error because I am typing all the things not in the notepad. I am typing everything in the Pycharm. That's the reason. If you want to run the program, just I'm commenting all these lines. Now, see here. First, I'm giving the try keyword. Okay. After that, I'm giving a is equal to 10 by 0. Now, on which line of the code you want to control the exception? You know, when I'm going to run this line of the code, I will get some kind of exception. Indirectly, on top of this line, you are expecting there might be the chances for the exception. For that reason, whatever such kind of lines are there, we are putting all such kind of lines in the block called as a try block only. We are using the keyword called as a try, and this whole thing we can able to call it as a try block. In that try block, what we are doing here, we are saying that with the help of this statement, I am expecting some kind of exception. Such kind of lines we are giving in the try block. Now, I want to handle the exception. If you want to handle the exception here, we are giving what I am using the keyword called as a except keyword. Now in this block, what we'll do here is, if we are going to get the exception, what operation you want to perform, that is the information we are giving in the except only. In the except, what I'm doing here, if you are going to get any kind of error by using this line of the code, what operation you want to perform, that information we are going to provide in the except block. Here I'm saying that I want to populate print. I want to populate my name. Just I'm giving the example only. We are going to get the some kind of exception. Whenever we are going to get the exception, I want to populate my name automatically. So this is the way we can able to pass our try and except. Indirectly, in the try block, we are giving all the lines of the code for what we are expecting the error. Coming to except, what I'm doing here, whenever we are going to get the error, what operation you want to perform, that is the information we are giving in the except block. Now tell me, if I'm going to run this program, what will happen? It will give the error or it is giving any kind of output. Any guesses? See here, I'm running this line of the code. Now it is giving what? It is given the Srinivas. So how it is given the Srinivas? Because as part of this one, it is given the exception. Whenever exception is populating, automatically what will happen? It will come to the block called as a except block only. With that, it is given the output value called as a Srinivas. Now, for example, instead of given the 10 by 0, I'm given the value as a 2, 10 by 2. Now I'm giving print of A. Now tell me any guesses what will happen? I am giving A is equal to 10 by 2 in the try block. After that, I'm giving the print of A and I'm giving the except block also. Now, if I'm going to run all these lines of the code, now what is the output we are going to get?
5.
Now tell me, this line will give the error or this line will give the output now? This line will give the output. If it is given the output, what will happen? It will run the next line of the code. In the next line, what we are having? Print of A. Now, as part of this program execution, will it come to the except block? It not at all come to the except block because there is no error. We'll see that. So see here. What's happening? We are getting output as a 5 because there is no error as part of this line of the code. For that reason, it is not coming to your print statement. With that, we can able to understand what is happening on top of your try block and except block only. Now, in the same way, now tell me what will happen. Any guesses? I given the try block, I given the except block. If I'm going to run this one, what will happen?
No response.
Print Srinivas.
See here.
No.
Your program will run, but is it giving any kind of output? No. What's the reason?
No, sir.
It ran the a equal to 10 comma 2, but after that you haven't given any statement called as a print of a and d. For that reason, it is not giving any output. At the same time, it is not going to this block at all because there is no error. For that reason, it is given the blank and d. So, for example, if you want to get the output, now we can give it as a simply print of a. Now, what I will do here is instead of giving the 10, I'm giving the 50. After that, I'm giving 0. Now, tell me what will happen. It is giving again exception because again we are dividing with the 0, so we are getting output as a exception. Now what I will do here is just I will do one small modification here. What I'm doing here is I'm giving it as a is equal to 10 plus Srinivas. Okay, now tell me what will happen. I commented the above lines of the code and now I'm giving the fresh lines of the code here. Now in this one, if I'm going to run the program, what will happen? It will populate the exception. Earlier we discussed same example. We are trying to perform the addition operation between integer and string value. We cannot able to perform the addition operation between integer and string. If you are trying to perform that operation, what is the error we are going to get? What type of error we will get? We will get the kind of error called as a type error. Now my requirement is instead of getting the error, I want to handle this exception. I want to populate output as a Srinivas whenever there is any kind of error. For that reason, we are using the try block and we are using the except. Now I'm going to run this program. Now see what's happening. We are getting output as a Srinivas. Now instead of Srini, I will give value as a 20. Now tell me what will happen. It is giving 30 because there is no error. That's the reason it is not at all coming to the except block only. Now overall, as part of these two examples, why we need to go for try block, why we need to go for except block? You try to give the answer. We'll go one by one. What is the purpose of try? To specify all the lines of the code for what you are expecting the error. You can able to pass all those lines of the code into the try block. What is the purpose of the except? Whenever you are going to get any kind of error, how you want to handle that error, that is the information we are passing on top of your except block only. But tell me here, I am printing the Srinivas. Is it a kind of a valid statement? Just for understanding, I'm giving the Srinivas. But actually what we have to do here, instead of giving the Srinivas, I'm giving it as we cannot able to perform addition operation between string and integer. This is a kind of a valid statement only. So previously, just for understanding, I'm giving the name as a Srinivas, but as part of getting the error, instead of simply giving it as an error, I want to populate the reason for the error. For that reason, just I'm giving this line of the code. Now, if I'm going to run this, see what will happen. We are getting whatever the message you are giving in the except block, that is the message we are getting on top of your output. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to perform the exception handling. If you want to perform the exception handling, first we need to understand the exception. What is the meaning of exception? During the execution of the program, if there is any kind of issues, we are going to get the error. Such kind of errors we can able to call it as a exception. To handle the exception, we need to use the keyword called as a try keyword and except keyword. This is one of the interview question only. How we can able to handle the exceptions in the Python? What we can able to say by using try and except. Okay, this.
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Hello. Sorry, your voice is not audible.
Just 1 second. Just I'm trying to give one more example here.
In between, your voice is not audible. Last 1 minute.
Hello, sir. Aditya.
Online people, my voice is audible.
Yes, sir.
It is audible, sir.
Yeah, sorry, some network issue only. So from last 2 minutes, network got disconnected. Hope now you are able to see my screen also. Okay. Now see here what I'm doing here is. Okay. So please see this example only. So in this example, if you observe here, what is the difference between the previous example and this example? In the previous example, just we are given the except keyword. With that, we are populating the statement by depending on our requirement only. Now, if you see this example, we are given. But after that, what I'm doing here, I am specifying the type of the error. For what type of error, which operation you want to perform. If it is the zero division error, sorry. If it is a kind of a zero division error, I want to populate this kind of output. If it is a kind of a type error, I want to perform one more kind of output. Indirectly, what I'm doing here, by using the except statement, you can able to handle any kind of error by depending on the requirements. And earlier, we given the only except. After that, I given the print statement. But here, what I'm doing here, I am given the except. After that, I am saying that if I am getting this error, do this operation. If I'm getting the type error, then do this operation. That is the way we can able to control what type of operation you want to perform by using the except. Now tell me, in this example, we are given the single except or we are given the multiple excepts? We are given the multiple excepts, Andy. Now tell me why we are given the multiple excepts? Because if I'm getting the zero division error, populate this output. If I'm getting the type error, then populate this output. Now you tell me, what is the difference between the previous example and this example? In the previous example, what's happening? For any kind of error, we are going to get the same output only. If it is a zero division error or if it is a type error, for any kind of error, we are populating the same kind of output. But now my requirement is, if it is zero division error, populate one output. If it is type error, populate one more kind of output. If it is the kind of index error, I want to get one more kind of output. Whenever we are having such kind of requirement, you can able to pass any number of except statements like this. And in this example, just I'm given the only two. Now tell me, for example, here. Yeah, I will learn the same thing. Now you tell me what is the output we are going to get. First question. This program, by using these lines, it will give the error or not. We are performing integer plus string operation. You will get the error. But what type of error it is? It's a type error or it's a zero division error? It's a type error. For that reason, what will happen here? It need to populate this output, and we'll see here. See, we cannot able to perform addition operation between string and integer. Now, this error is coming to we are getting this line of output, and now in the same way, I am giving simply a is equal to 10 by 0. Now tell me where it will go as part of execution. It will go to this block or this block. It will go to zero division error. So just will run this one. See, as part of execution, it is given the zero division error. Whenever we are going to get the zero division error, I given the information, I want to catch that error. With that, I want to populate this kind of output. For that reason, as part of getting this error, it is coming to this block only. In this block, we given the statement called as a, we cannot able to perform division with the zero. For that reason, you are getting the output like this. Okay, this is the way we need to understand how we can able to control the exceptions by depending on our requirement. As part of controlling, you can give the try keyword and except keyword. At the same time, in the except, you can able to pass any number of lines of the code by depending on our requirement. In this example, I'm giving the zero division error and also I'm given the type error. Now just observe. Here we can able to use one more last keyword called as a finally. I'm giving print of program execution completed. Generally, this is the one more keyword we are going to use as part of our exception handling. So what will happen here is whether it is given the error or it is not given the error, every time it will run this block. What is going to happen? Whether your lines of the code is given the error or it is not given the error, by default, what will happen? Every time this block will run, it will give the output. Now tell me, if I am going to run the program like this, by considering my statements on top of this finally, how many values we are going to see in the output? Any guesses?
2 values.
A equal to 10 by 0. It is a kind of a zero division error. For that reason, it is coming to this block. At the same time, by default, what I'm telling, if it is given the error or without given the error, it is going to execute this line of the code, and with that, it is giving total 2 lines of output. See here. One is we cannot able to perform division with the zero. At the same time, it is given the one more output called as a program execution is completed. Now, for example, I am given the 10 by 2. Now tell me what will happen.
It will give the
Whether this line is giving any kind of error? No, it is given the proper value, which is nothing but print of A is nothing but we are getting the value called as a 5. Other than that, what is the one more output we are going to get?
Finally blocking.
On this one,
Program execution is completed.
It is giving program execution is completed. Now you tell me what is the meaning of this finally here by using both the examples. As part of doing exception handling, if there is any error or if there is no error, you want to perform one operation by default. Whenever you want to perform any operation by default as part of dealing with the exception handling, then we can able to use the keyword called as a finally keyword. With that, we can able to perform some default operations as part of dealing with our exception handling. This is the way we need to understand what is the meaning of exception handling, how we can able to handle the exception handling, what is the purpose of the exception handling. All these things we need to understand by using all these examples. Now overall, as part of exception handling, how many different keywords we introduced? Total 3. What are those? Try, except, finally. What is the purpose of try here? To specify which lines of code you want to handle as part of the exception that we are giving in the try block. Coming to except, whenever you are getting the error, what is the error message you want to populate? That information we are giving in the except block. Coming to finally, we are giving it as a default statement. If there is any error or there is no error, by default, this line of code will execute by using the finally keyword. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to perform exception handling on top of our Python programming. Okay. Any questions on top of all these statements? Please ask me.
Sir, in this example, for example, we have given A equal to 10 by 5 or yeah. Then what is the output?
Yeah, you will tell me. So for example, someone is saying if I'm given the A equal to 10 by 5, what is the output? Other people, you try to give the answer. It is giving one value or it is given the 2 values in the output screen?
2 values it will give.
2 only, because there is no error. It is given the print of A is nothing but it's given the output as a 2. At the same time, if there is no error also, by default, what will happen? It is going to run the finally statement. With that, you are getting the one more value called as a program execution is completed. Is it clear?
Then A equal to 10 by 0. 0.
Yeah.
Same output.
Yeah, same output. So what I'm telling, it is given the error. If it is giving error or if it is not given the error, by default, this block is going to execute. Now see this one also. What's happening? We cannot able to perform the division with 0 because you got the error. It is going to this block. At the same time, by default, this block is going to run. With that, you are getting the 2 lines on top of your output screen.
Yeah, and when we developing the Python code, is it mandatory to give these try except the
Yeah,
final?
that is a good practice. So I can able to say it's a mandatory at the same time. That is the good practice as part of doing the programming in our real-time projects, because in the real time you are writing the hundreds of the programs, and whenever a program is failing, you need to understand why it is failing, how we can able to populate the reason for the failures. By using this kind of except keyword, you can able to populate your own messages, and otherwise what will happen? Python will throw some default message. By using that message, you cannot able to understand what is the reason for the failure. For that reason, you want to populate your own error message. For that, we are using the except keyword as part of our exception handling. In the real time, definitely we are going to perform the exception handling. For that reason only, we are discussing about this entire concept as part of our classes.
We'll
Sir.
keep our entire code in try, sir.
Yep.
But
not entire code
of...
only. No, not entire code. So for example, see here, I'm given the a equal to 10 by 0. After that, I'm giving a is equal to a plus 3. Okay. Now, for both the things, we can able to use the same try block. Otherwise, for this one, I can able to use one try block. For this one, we can able to use the other try block only. Like that, by depending on the lines of the code you are writing, either you can able to use the one try block, or we can able to use the multiple try blocks as part of our real-time projects.
Yeah, and except and we use it by the end of the code.
No, for every try block, we have to give the except. So see here, for example, if I'm giving one try block here, obviously we have to give the except for this try block. Again, if you're given the one more try block, again, what we have to do here for this try block, again, you need to add the one more except. In that we can able to say try and except both are together, and if you're given the one try, immediately we have to give the one except.
Finally also.
Yeah, finally, by depending on your choice. Okay, is it mandatory or is it optional? It's an optional. If you want, we can give this. Otherwise, we can able to skip this by depending on our convenience. But try and except both we have to give as part of handling our exception handling.
Sir, could we use one more try and except within a try and except?
Yeah, you can use any number of try expressions within the try block. You can able to use the try and exception, or outside the block also you can able to use the try and exceptions. Sir,
one more question, sir. How many number of exceptions here we have, like 0 division error? Is that any?
So we are having around 14 to 15. So when I'm sharing the notes only, I will share all the list of the exception errors. Is it fine?
Fine, sir.
Okay, so when I'm sharing the notes, I will share all the list of the in the class I discussed about only 4-5 errors only by considering our time only. But when I'm sharing the notes, in the notes I will give all the different types of the exception errors. With that, you can able to get some idea what kind of errors we can able to get as part of our program execution. Okay.
So
any other questions?
For example, these two except statements were taken, right, sir? If it is not matched to that, so it will give not any error.
Yeah, so for example, for example, see here what I'm doing is I'm giving the a equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, after that I'm giving print of a 10. Now, if you remember earlier, we discussed the same example. If I'm going to run this one, so what is going to happen here? We don't have any 10th element, so we are getting the output as a kind of an index error. But are we handling any index errors here? No, right? Now we'll see what will happen if I'm going to run this one. 1 second. I will comment all these lines first. Let's see what's happening here. It is catching. Sorry. So any guesses why it is giving this error? Because out of all these 3 lines only, this is perfect. But here we got the error. For that reason, it is directly going to this one. But I don't want to display this one here in this example. I want to handle this. Now we'll run this. Now see what's happening. This is given the kind of error called as an index error. But as part of this program, are we handling any index errors? No, for that reason, it is given the error saying it as a index error. Now what I will do here is, for example, in the same program, just I will give the except. Now here I will give it as a print of error. Now if I'm given the only except, what will happen? It can able to handle any kind of error. And now we'll see if I'm going to run this one. We are getting simply output as a this error message is coming on top of your output. So if you are given the type of the error, then only it can able to handle that error. Otherwise, what will happen, as we discussed earlier, it is giving that error on top of your output screen. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Any other questions so far? Okay. If no
So,
questions,
if
Andy,
the
just observe
exception
here.
occurs,
After completion of the class, I will share this file and the exception handling.py file. In this file, sorry, in this file, you can able to see all the examples, whatever we discussed one by one. Again, same thing. If you want to run this line, just uncomment this and run this. Now with this, you can able to understand what is the meaning of zero division error. In the same way, just comment this one. Again, go to the second line. Now see if I'm going to run this one. What's error we're getting? Name error. Why it is given the name error? We haven't defined the A value, we haven't defined the B value, but you want to perform the addition between A and B. For that reason, we are getting the name error. Again, comment this, uncomment these lines. Now run this one. So with this, you can able to get the index error. Indirectly, whatever the examples we discussed, Randy, for every example, I am giving all the examples in the single script file. I will share this file. This file name is nothing but exception handling.py. I will share this file. Once I'm going to share this file, please uncomment each and every line. With that, first to try to understand what is the meaning of the different types of the errors, Randy. I given the zero division error, name error, index error, type error. After that, here I given the information for how we can able to handle all these errors by using the try and except. After that, I given the example for how to handle multiple types of the errors at a time by using the final keyword also. Indirectly, whatever the examples I given in the other document, I given all the examples as part of this file. After completion of this class, I will share this file. With this file, you need to understand what is the exception handling. What about this file? This is the file for type of the arguments, Andy. I will share both the files. First file to understand type of the arguments. Second file to understand different types of the exceptions or how we can able to perform the exception handling. All this information you can able to understand by using these two files, Andy. Now, for example, if I am going to share the files, how you can able to put all those files into the Pycharm? I will send the file. You will download that file into your local system. Now, how you can able to get that code into the Pycharm? Very simple, Andy. Whatever the file I'm sending, for example, this one I'm copying. Okay. So for this one, what I'm doing is I'm giving the name as a, for example, one. See here, this is the file I'm sending to you. Now copy this file, Control C, go back to the Pycharm, select the project. At the project level, give Control V or right click on paste. Just click on OK. Now see here, whatever the file I copied, you can able to see that file on top of your Pycharm. And indirectly, whatever the files which I'm going to send to you for the purpose of doing the practice, you can able to copy paste those files into your Pycharm under the project. With that, you can able to run all the examples, whatever I'm showing as part of our class. Okay. Not only these examples, Andy, first to try to understand all these examples by using these scripts. At the same time, try to perform your own operations. With that, you can able to get the good knowledge on top of the type of the arguments, at the same time on top of our exception handling also. Okay. So before winding up the session, any questions so far, please ask me again.
What is the parsing?
Sorry?
Parsing.
Parsing is nothing but scanning the entire program. So whatever the program you're writing, it is going to scan all the lines of the code as part of execution. First, it is going to verify whether all the keywords are correct or not, whether all the functions are correct or not. It is going to verify all that information. After that only, your now actual execution is going to trigger. That scan, that verification only we can able to call indirectly is nothing but parsing operation.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's all for today for this session, Andy. We'll meet in the 11:45 session. Again, I'm saying I'm very sorry if there is any disturbance with my voice. I'm having the throat infection. Might be some kind of disturbance will come to the online people. If there is any such kind of disturbance, sorry for that. Okay. Okay, then we'll meet you at 11:45.
The Python is completed.
No, not completed. So mostly by today or tomorrow it will complete. Okay. Thank you.
so